Good morning, family. So I'm driving this morning. I just want to talk about, it's been a week since the Dipset, Lox Dipset Verzuz battle, whatever you want to call it. My goodness gracious. From the beginning, I mean, first of all, I want to say New York City, the energy was crazy at Madison Square Garden. Well, the theater at Madison Square Garden, it was the theater around the corner from the main Madison Square Garden. I think it seats about 5,000, 8,000 people. I'm not really sure, but usually that's where they have like all the Golden Glove events and the smaller type of events that, you know, can't hold about 20,000 people, which the main Madison Square Garden Bowl holds. This is more like a theater setup. If you ever been in there, ever been to Golden Gloves, I usually go in there for Golden Glove fights if they have plays and stuff like that. But nonetheless, it looked like it was tight in there, a bunch of people. The whole setup, the energy was out of control. It was New York City. If you ever been to a rap show in New York City, like from the 90s, early 2000s, maybe even going back to the 80s. I wasn't going to too many rap shows, not any rap shows back then, but early 90s to early 2000s, yes, you felt the energy in the air. You felt like, you just felt the intensity. I felt it. You know, you see everybody got their crews on stage. It was just that kind of environment. And I was listening to Fat Joe. He was talking about, you felt the element of danger in the air. Now, this is what's particular, as crazy as it may sound, and it shouldn't be this way, but that's the particular thing about going to a party or a show in New York City. It's an element in the air. You know, it could either go well or it could go south. You know, it could go left. So you seen everybody out there, you seen the crowd, everybody was packed. There was a bunch of people. Thank God that everything went well. No one got hurt from what I hear. No one got hurt. Everybody got home good. Don't know what happened on the train. You know what I'm saying? Anything can happen. But nonetheless, getting back to that actual Verzuz. So from the beginning, you know, there was a delay. You seen it took Dipset a long time to get out there. Come to find out later that Cameron was delaying. It seemed like he was leaving. Then he came back. The whole lawn chair, the beach chair setup, I thought that was a bit extra, but that's Harlem Cats. That's Harlem Cats. These dudes always been extra. Always been extra. Now I went to school in Harlem. I went to Parkwest High School, and I went to school with a bunch of Harlem Cats. And Harlem Cats always been extra. I mean, I got along with a lot of them. A lot of them were really cool. They were into what they were into their fashion, and that's how Harlem Cats do. So I already knew it was going to be extra, you know, with the jewels, I don't know what jewels had on, but that's another story for another day. With that brother, he was looking crazy out there with the leather jacket in the middle of the summer. I didn't understand the sweatsuits in the middle of the summer, but maybe at the theater at the Garden, maybe it's a little bit chilly in there. That's the only thing I could chalk it up to. But then you got the stage lights, which already add some high temperatures and some heat. So I would figure that everybody will come dressed like how the Lox was dressed, you know, shorts, t-shirts, and, you know, it's a battle. But Harlem Cats, they do what they do. They always extra. They do what they do. They come out with whatever. Bang, bang, bang. You know, Cameron comes out there, sits on the beach chair. Crazy. Everything was just crazy from the beginning. So, you know, right off the rip, and I'm just saying, you know, the youngest cats, in particular, Cheek Luch, he starts out by calling them all PUSSYs. Now, you know that's straight disrespect. You know, I don't condone that type of disrespect, but that was straight disrespect. You know, at that point, people stop talking, people go to blows. It's a lot of things that go into that, but that's what he did. He called them that, and they was trying to figure out who was gonna go first. Cam said, "This is our city. This is our town. This is our city. Basically, we make the rules. This is our town." I think at this point, or maybe later, I'm forgetting, but at some point, I know Jadakiss told them basically, y'all live in Miami and in Colorado. You know what I mean? Y'all ain't from New York no more. And this was a constant thing all night with Jadakiss. Jadakiss was straight just zipping them with one-liners. Now, Cameron, I was expecting Cameron to be funny because Cameron is a naturally funny cat. I read somewhere in the movie Paid in Full that basically he ad-libbed basically the whole movie. Or I seen an interview with him or something to where he was speaking about how he ad-libbed the whole movie. And if you know the character that he played in Paid in Full, Rico, he was just a funny cat. And Cameron, when you hear him in interviews, he's a naturally funny cat. That's another thing with uptown cats. Uptown cats, they like to joke. They like to joke on people. They like to joke on what you got on. Then I went to school with these cats. This is their nature. This is what they do. They play the dozens a lot. So I already knew, you know, and I believe Cameron asked him, like, what the hell do y'all got on? Like, that's the first thing that was going to happen, right? So they get into it. Lox started off. They do the song F You. The place is on fire. Here come the Dipset. Dipset responds. You know, at the very beginning of it, you never really thought that. You didn't think what was coming was total domination. I did not think that the Lox was going to just totally dominate this event. And the reason why I said that is because I figured that Dipset was a little bit more current, although they're all around the same age. Me and I know that when I went to high school, I know my high school used to play against the high school that Mace and Cameron went to, which was Manhattan Center. To play basketball against them, and I know that they were on the basketball team, so they're about pretty much around my age. They might be a little bit younger, maybe like a year younger, maybe the same age or whatever, but Cam and Mason, them guys is around my age. So, and also I believe that the Lox is around my age. So those guys, but the Lox came out maybe, the Lox and Cameron came out maybe around the same time. Remember, Cameron was an artist before he became a crew with Dipset. So Cameron came out in the late 90s alongside the Lox. The Lox came out in the late 90s, and you know, their careers basically, they came up like at the same time. Just that later Cameron was just with Dipset, and it was more of a, he had more of a longevity with Dipset. It extended his career more so than the Lox, so at least I thought so, because I must have been sleeping on the Lox, in particular Jadakiss. Not so much that I sleep on Jadakiss, because I think Jadakiss, I always thought Jadakiss was a dope MC, but like underrated. You know, you take somebody for granted, oh yeah, Jadakiss, whatever, you know. And but baby, oh baby, goodness gracious, Jadakiss is a monster. I mean, the one-liners, the mic control, commanding the stage. The Lox in particular looked like a group. They knew each other's rhymes. They understood where they had to be on stage. They knew how to work the crowd. They knew who their general was. Now, all of the Lox are dope. They all can rhyme. SP can rhyme. Cheek Luch can rhyme. Jadakiss definitely is a monster. But they understood that they leader. They understood, like Jadakiss said, he said, I'm the transmission. They understood that Jadakiss was the man that was going to go and get them that victory. He was their Kobe Bryant. He was their Michael Jordan. He was their Kevin Durant, their Steph Curry. They understood that. And they played off of that. They didn't have any egos amongst each other. When Jadakiss said, let me talk, they let him talk. On the other hand, with the Dipset, it was the total opposite. It was a fractured group. You could see the separation within them. That's why they said that in unity there's strength. They were not unified at all. If you ever notice, anytime Jim Jones and Jewels would be singing, for most part, Cameron is not right there next to them, singing the lyrics with them. Maybe he didn't know the lyrics. Maybe he didn't know their lyrics. He didn't memorize it. But I tell you one thing, the Lox knew each other's lyrics. They finished off each other's song. People was talking about the breath control of the Lox. But one thing about having a hype man on stage, the important thing about a hype man is someone that's your partner on stage. He has to know that when you're rhyming, because you're getting out a lot of words, where to pick up a rhyme for you to where you could catch your breath again and where you could pick up the next bar. The Lox have that down pat. If you listen to that whole thing, they know each other's lyrics. And it was just constantly one right after the other. People forgot about the Lox and how hard their music hit. The other thing that I say about the Lox is this. And I like Dipset. I like, in particular, I like Cameron. I've always liked Cameron as an MC. You know, Cameron is a funny cat. But I've always liked him as an MC. I seen after a while Cameron tried to get serious. And he tried to pull the reins together, but where you don't have unity, you don't have a leader to get everybody back focused and everybody's doing their own thing. You know, Jewel should have been roped in. He was doing too much. You know, he looked like he was way out of his mind. First thing he does is open a bottle of champagne. I didn't see the Lox do that. Now, I could be wrong, but I didn't see the Lox drinking. I think they might have been smoking a little bit of herb or whatever, but I seen the Lox focus, and I seen Dipset thought that this was going to be a walk in the park, and they underestimated the actual event and thinking that it was just going to be like just all the other verses where people are just talking and listening to music and it's a celebration. No. This is New York City in front of a crowd. And the event is called, whether you are with it or not, it's called Verzuz. You should have known that them boys was coming for blood. I mean, they just came with some shorts that look like they bought some shorts from Walmart and got some t-shirts, you know, like the t-shirts that they sell every summer, you know, 3 t-shirts for $10, whatever. And some Timbs on, some sneakers, and them boys went straight to work. They didn't come for no game. They came to serve business. And that's what they did. The Lox came and served it up. And unfortunately, Dipset was not ready. Dipset did not come to handle business. Dipset came for a celebration because I think they thought it was a foregone conclusion that they were going to beat the Lox, and they forgot the catalog of music that the Lox had. And furthermore, I think it wasn't even so much the catalog. I think it was the energy, the syncopation, the just them as a group that just, and having their MVP Jadakiss just destroyed it, because Jadakiss basically single-handedly destroyed the Dipset. The rest of the Lox is just a cherry on top. If you really look back at that thing, who controlled the stage and the mic better than Jadakiss? And then Dipset kept making mistake after mistake. Obviously, Welcome to New York City, the song between Cameron and Jay-Z, is the biggest song, right? Then the I got 100 guns, 100 clips, I'm from New York. It's Jay is on it, obviously. So Cameron, you do your song, and then you gonna say y'all don't got no New York record bigger than that. You don't got no bigger record than that. Now, the importance of the two songs is this. Welcome to New York City. People are not really, people sing it, but it's more something that people are not going to be singing out loud. People sing it, but it's not really like a catchy type of hook. But that, I got 100 guns, 100 clips, and he said it. He set that up for Jadakiss so sweet. I mean, how do you do that? You can't make mistakes like that. Keep your mouth shut. Just go to the next song. He probably wouldn't even play that song. But your mouth, Cameron, caused him to go to that song, and it caused the crowd to react, and automatically it made it as if he beat you that round. You had that round, but your mouth saying y'all don't got no record, no New York, you don't got no New York record bigger than that. And once the crowd heard that, the beginning of that song, that everybody just started. And then Fat Joe is in the audience. I thought Fat Joe would have jumped on stage and just started singing with them. That's what I would have done, because you set yourself up, and the whole audience is singing. I got 100 guns, 100 clips. I'm from New York. Come on, man. You can't make those mistakes, Dipset. You can't make those mistakes, Cam. The other major mistake, Jewels. I guess after a while people told him, hey, take all this goofy stuff off, you know. But he still got the goofy bandana on his head, like this is, you know what I mean, 2003, 2004, whenever it was that he first came out. And he proceeds to say, yeah, y'all don't make no music for the ladies. Y'all don't got music. Are you crazy? And the other thing I got to say about the Lox, not only were they united as a crew, they knew each other's lyrics and each other's songs, but their DJ, oh my, now you see the essence of a real hip-hop DJ. Someone who is in lockstep with you. Oh my goodness, that DJ, it's like they had an answer for everything. It's like they understood it's like they had the what do you call it? It's like they had the how do you say that? It's like they had the playbook. It's like they had the playbook. They had the playbook of Dipset, and they knew every play that they was gonna call. They just understood it. You know what? We know every play they're gonna call. Let's audible to this. Let's go to that. Oh, they're packing the box. You know what I mean? We gonna spread them out. They doing this. We gonna do that. We're gonna do a quick slant play. Oh my goodness! It was just, they dissected them. It wasn't even about the music. I would say 40% about it was about the music, because Dipset got hot songs. I mean, they had hits. So it wasn't per se totally about just the music. It was about the delivery. It was about the way that they brought it across, the way that they came across to the audience. That's what it was about. And I hope that the young people that were looking at it got to see how real MCs do this. You know what I mean? That's how real MCs do this thing, man. Real MCs, that's how they do it. That's how real MCs do it. And that's what the Lox did. It just took them. When they dropped the Benjamins, now, very important thing. People forget about the Lox. The Lox come from the P. Diddy school. Now, say what you want to say about Puff. One thing I know about Puff is an entertainer first. Puff used to be a backup dancer for Uptown Records before he became CEO, before he became producer, before he became all that. He used to be on the road carrying bags, doing all types of stuff, throwing parties, promoting, doing all types of stuff like that. So Puff knows what it is to be an entertainer, and I'm sure, because those are the people that came from under Puff. Puff, I'm sure that the Lox learned to be performers and how to present yourself on stage when you go on stage. Don't look at the Lox and just say, oh, they some grimy cats or whatever. When they come, they put on a show, they perform, and that's what they do. That's why you see that they are so syncopated. They are in lockstep with each other. They don't lack command on stage. Come on, man. They was under Puff. They was under, I don't know how close they was to Big at that time, but they was under Puff. So they try to say, oh, that's Puffy song. That's Puffy song. Jada said, those are my lyrics. I wrote those lyrics. Oh my goodness gracious. Then you gonna talk about Cheek Luch like he's like he don't, when you gonna rhyme? And I believe they dropped Reservoir Dogs and Cheek Luch just went crazy. Have you forgotten? Then Jewel, yeah, going back to Jewel's talk about y'all don't make songs for the ladies. He gonna say that out of his mouth, and they just run off a catalog of music that the Lox made for the ladies. I was wondering how they was gonna bring in that Good Lovin' from Cheek Luch. I was like, I know that was a big song for him, and Jewel Santana threw the opposing team an alley-oop. And the Lox caught it and dunked it. And not only did they dunk it, they broke the backboard. It was one of those type of things. They caught the alley-oop, they dunked it, and they broke the backboard. It wasn't just a regular dunk. They broke the backboard. They just medley after medley after medley. We know Grammys, y'all just know Grams. I mean, and Jada all night with the one-liners. What are we doing here? I'm supposed to be in bed watching the honeymoon. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love the competitive nature. And not taking it, I mean, Dipset, you got to go home. You got to practice again. You got to do all the things you're supposed to do, man. Y'all came up there half-stepping, thinking that everything was going to be sweet, that it was going to be a walk in the park, and it wasn't. And I think it became a landslide because y'all did not take this serious. Y'all were not unified as a group. Y'all were just too fractured, and it showed, and you could feel it. Jim Jones, perhaps the biggest song from Dipset, is about ready to drop. And you stopped the crowd was already ready to go with you. And you want to do just like a true Uptown cat. You want your jeweler to put an extra piece of jewel on you. You had this whole thing planned out. The song already started, and you took that energy out the room. I mean, people still reacted to it, but the initial energy was going to be crazier than when they restarted that record. It was just little mistakes like that y'all kept making all night long. It just wasn't lined up for y'all, man. And y'all, I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it, man. I don't get how you come out there and you're not prepared. I don't get it. You guys should have been prepared, man. You guys should have been on top of what y'all was supposed to be doing. You should not have been out there half-stepping. Not with them cats from Yonkers. Them cats was locked and loaded. And about locked and loaded, I was looking the previous week, I was looking at Locked and Loaded with my son. And you know, I was talking to my son and telling him, I said, you know, the same thing that Jada kept saying to the Lox, basically, man, y'all cheating because y'all up here lip syncing. You know what I mean? It's not so much that they were lip syncing, they were just rhyming over the record. Right? But Jada emphasized on the lip syncing. But the rhyming over the record means that you letting your track play with the lyrics on it, and you're completely right. It's like you got the full track, the MP3 that you listen to on iTunes or whatever, or Spotify or whatever, is playing and you're rhyming over it. Now, rappers have certain techniques, especially back in the days. What you would do is you would get your track from the studio, maybe with the ad-libs and maybe with the hook in it, and then the verses would be empty, just with the ad-libs. That depends on if you don't have a hype man, right? If you was just a solo artist or whatever. However you perform, you always had your show mix prepared to help you out in whichever way. Never to where your whole lyrics was on it, because your job was to deliver your lyrics. It was always like that. But through the years, people have gotten lazier. What I realized is that these young cats, because they doing this double and triple time, they can't breathe. They have no breath control. So they leave their whole track on. And most of the time, they just basically ad-libbing on the track. They're not really, or they want the audience to sing. It's not the job of the audience to sing. It's your job to deliver the song to the audience. And unfortunately, when I was looking at Locked and Loaded, I was telling my son, I was like, these cats is cheap. The same thing Jadakiss was saying. I said, they not performing. They just playing their song and jumping around, and every now and then they drop a line here and there. I said, but they can't keep up with themselves because it's too much. They doing too much, or they not relaxing themselves. And sure enough, Jadakiss came and was like, hey, what are you guys doing? This is New York City. They jipping y'all. He said they are jipping. I haven't heard that since I was a little boy. Jip. Oh my goodness. It was classic, man. It was classic. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love hip hop, so that's the music of my generation. I love hip hop, and it just brought joy to me. The biggest thing I got out of it, and the most beautiful thing, is that nobody got hurt. There were no incidents of violence or anything like that, which is beautiful. Everybody acted grown at the end. Everybody, you know, they showed unity. Even though a lot of things were said, a lot of things was done. Jim Jones fell off the stage. Cameron tried to kick SB. There was a bunch of stuff going on that could have gotten it to the point where it was, where, you know, you could see they control and they check their egos, which was beautiful. Because at the end of the day, you know, we all family, and it don't need to go there. It's just music. But New York City, New York overall, we know that we take our hip-hop serious, and you gotta come prepared. And if you don't come prepared, you liable to get embarrassed, man. And that's what happened to the Dipset, man. I hope that they get it together, but you never get a second chance at a first impression. And basically, you came in front of New York City, you know, right in the midst of a pandemic, out of a pandemic, whatever you want to say, and you didn't give your best performance. You should have been prepared, and I think that the Lox won by a landslide, with the MVP being Jadakiss. Jadakiss is, what he said, top 5 dead or alive. Woof. He made his case. He went up that ladder. He went up that ladder, Jadakiss. I mean, his show money should be higher now than what it was before. I know that the next day, you know what I mean, on my way to, well, not the next day, well, over the weekend, on Sunday, I was like, man, put on the Lox. Let me hear the Lox, man. So I know his streaming went up. The Lox streaming went up. Everybody wanted to know who the Lox were if you didn't know them, if you were maybe a little bit younger, because of just Jadakiss' performance. So, listen, I hope that you've enjoyed my review. Lox, Jada, y'all knocked it out the ballpark. Thoroughly enjoyed that, and I hope that we get more verses like this. Like, I think this was the best verses that Timbo and Swizz Beatz put together. That was the best. That had the energy, that had everything in it. That was the best out of all of them, because none of the other ones had that energy to match it up. And people were sitting in the studio, and Bobby Brown and Keith Sweat seemed like a joke. Timberland and Swizz was good, but it lacked the energy, the intensity that this one had. This one had all the elements of hip hop, a little bit of danger. You know what I mean? I'm sorry to say, but it did a little bit of danger, a little bit of, you know what I mean? Over the topness. That's how hip hop is. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved it. Verzuz continue to make more, put more events together like that one. Peace out. I'm gonna see y'all.